Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. I have my crystal ball off to the side, so I will be scrying throughout this message. If you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different, and if you're returning, welcome back. You know how we do if it doesn't resonate with you. If you're forcing the story to fit, arguing with it in any way, just leave it behind for the people who it's meant for. Let's go ahead and let's begin. Okay. Taking a step aside, and allowing spirit to pass through me. Opening up to receive information. Okay. We have the Piper. We have the Piper showing up. Oh, and I was just about to say that. Very bottom, very kissed by the pixies. We have the Piper showing up. There's this sort of listfulness. Maybe somebody's in their head about something. Maybe someone is daydreaming about something. The Piper seduces with the sweet notes of romance, right? So some of you may have a new opportunity in love that has approached you. Some of you may be thinking about the past. Some of you may be thinking about yourself and how you relate to the energy of love. Some of you may be finding that there's just this desire for more love inside of your life. As I said, the fairy kissed by the pixie is showing up on the bottom, and that is the card of love inside of this deck. So some of you are really trying to, the Piper also sings the song that attracts things. So some of you are trying to attune yourself to a vibration that will attract love into your life. There may have recently been a conflict within a relationship here for some of you. There is this card number is 24, which is telling me that, because 2 is partnerships, 4 is my number of conflict. And then here somebody's going within with the number 5 and 4 showing up at the top. They're trying to change the conflict. They seem to be going within themselves. So whoever this message is for, you may be going inside of yourself to try and change whatever energy is conflictual or that keeps attracting conflictual energy towards yourself. So it's going to be different for everybody. On the bottom of the deck, we have the other sort of listful card in this deck, which is Talm the Poet. Talm the Poet and the Piper both get inside their feels. The reason why is because one has to do with music and song, the other has to do with poetry. They're getting into the feeling state that's inside of themselves. They're sifting through some sort of feeling. So whoever this message is for, this may be the process that you're going through right now. We seem to be trying to gain some sort of wisdom over a personal process, over a particular pattern, maybe a behavior. And this is some deep work that someone is going through right now. For some of you, because in Epona's Wild Daughter, she's actually sitting on the person, forcing them to look within. Some of you have a situation that is forcing you to look within. And this is all for the purpose of this card here. This is Nellis the Alchemist. There's something that we're trying to transform, or that we're trying to create something new out of. There's definitely been an ending here with the Lady of the Harvest. And this deck, unfortunately, many of the cards that can't show up close because of YouTube and nudity and all that. But this particular card here is a safer card. Is a safer card. There's all this fruit, and the fruit is ripe, but it also looks a little rotten, right? Something may have stayed past its time. It's past its expiration. Now, is this a situation that has ended, or is this something that you're trying to end inside of yourself? That's the question. But something has definitely stayed past its time. With the Spirit Dancer, we're trying to free ourselves from whatever this is. The Spirit Dancer here really talks about moving forward quickly without even knowing what direction we're heading in. We're just going. And, you know, I know that traditionally inside the deck, this is not a bad thing. But every time I look at this card, I've never been able to help this sort of sense that I have as a Capricorn that, hey, girlie, you might want to look up because that wall's right in front of you. And you're going to be somebody's bumper sticker. And with the number 3 and the number 6 on that, there's some sort of foundation that's rooted inside of our childhood, right? So we may have had a tendency to just run away, to hide and find safety. There's something like that that's coming into this as we're wrapping up something, either wrapping up something within ourselves or wrapping up something in our 3D. And this is an energy to definitely pay attention to, because if you notice, it's the one that's sitting between this Epona's wild daughter and Nellis the alchemist, meaning this energy may have something that needs transformed in it, right? I'm just going to fly into the next new thing, or I'm just going to fly into the wall. I heard run for cover. I have to take it. It flipped and I saw it. All right. We have the death card. So there's definitely something here that's ending, something that is transforming. This is quite possibly what it is that we are kind of in our feelings about with the Piper. The thing about it is that in this ending, we have this sort of flight. And this flight is part of what's going to transform us. However, there's also something within the inner workings of this flight mechanism that need transformed. So, for example, it's not necessarily a bad thing to leave this behind, but what are the coping mechanisms taking place? Or what are the things that we're trying to run to, right? These are all questions being asked by these cards. Now, there is a measure of wisdom that is trying to come about here, because if this is the thing that we've always done, then we're going to reap the same fruit, right? We're just going to be back here again. So this reading that's trying to share itself with somebody is to stop for a second. Stop for a second and analyze your own pattern in this moment, not the pattern that you just try to leave behind, because our patterns often are not the actual situation or the actual moment within us. They're rooted in something before, and they're also completed by something after. And so the pattern extends a little bit further than what maybe somebody has recognized. And this pattern is not just outside of us, it's also inside of us. It's not just inside of us, it's also outside of us. So if you're struggling with a pattern that's internal, pay attention to different things that are outside of you. Are you consuming media that reaffirms that pattern inside of you? Are you engaging with people that constantly reaffirm that negative feeling, that negative belief to you? So, okay. For some of you, this does have to do with connections, and I do want to point that out because there are many number 2s here, and also with this number 6 showing up, this is also a 6. These are our learned behaviors regarding love and relationships when we're children. So the singer of connection, there seems to be something about connection here, especially since we had the Piper and the fairy kissed by the pixies. Okay. Now, in the past, what it looks like is there was something that we got a little hip to. We recognize something. The Oak Man is the other wisdom card, right? We have the Sage. He's kind of the magician of this deck. And then we have the Oak Man. The Oak Man has observed for a very long time something. And notice that his eyes over here are orange. This always makes me think of sacral matters, right? So again, primal connection, our families. There's something here that this being has observed over and over and over and over. And he's not necessarily happy about it. This cycle has made him wise, but he's not necessarily happy about it. The problem with the Oak Man is the Oak Man can't move. He's rooted. Right? He's rooted. He's stuck. He's going to observe this to the end of time. And this doesn't have to be someone's story. And that's why Nellis the Alchemist is coming through. There's a particular part of this pattern that we haven't looked at. And this is what Epona's wild daughter is forcing someone to do at this time. So if this is your message, this is what you're doing right now. You're looking at something in a different way. We do have the Singer of Transfiguration showing up on the very bottom for the future here. So this is something that you will be successful with if you continue with what you're doing right now. The Singer of Transfiguration is all about transformation. And when we transform that energy from the sacral space, what we're really doing is we're transforming our root, right? Because those energies and those cycles and patterns that we keep engaging in are what are making us unrooted, ungrounded, not feeling safe. Right? Not giving a sense of belonging or stability. So this Singer of Transfiguration is very profound. I love that it comes with the number 11. This for me is like the ultimate foundation number. So it's also an ultimate healing number. Now, one of the things about the Singer of Transfiguration is it almost looks like wings. There's something that we are, with the Spirit Dancer, there's something we are trying to fly to. For many of you, because of the Piper and the bottom card having been the Lovers, this is going to be a healthy love, or healthy friendships, or healthy connections. Okay, one more. Oh, two apparently. Okay, yes. Oh, so much more, so much more. All right. Okay, so the first card in the two that just came out was the Lao Mei, and then underneath it, or really beside it, let's put it beside it, is Oh That Gnome. And so what I'm seeing between the two of these is that for a very long time there may have been understanding that there is a baggage of some kind, right? That's what the Lao Mei talks about. She talks about a past that has torn her wings. She's healed from it in some way, but her wings are still torn. They're beautiful in the way that they've grown now, but they're still torn. And this is part of her foundation with that number 3. And so this sort of torn up foundation, this is something that we haven't necessarily wanted to look at because we've identified with it. We've said, this is me now. And what someone is starting to see here with the opponent's wild daughter, and what they're starting to see within them, and how it's affecting what's outside of them, or outside of them affecting what's inside, infecting what's inside of them, is Oh That Gnome. And this is where we are basically, oh, fine, I'll finally do this, right? I'll finally do this. Someone is realizing that they finally have to do something. And this is something they have dragged their feet about for quite some time with Flaff the Footer. He's holding his feet. You can't walk if you're holding your feet, right? For many of you, this is in regards to something with the heart space, because Flaff the Footer is green. The reason why we seem to be focusing on this right now is because we want to change something that we keep manifesting, 5 and 8. Okay, this is probably work that many of you have already been doing, right? It's just that it's like ramping up now. Some of you, you've never done this work, which is why Flaff the Footer is coming out. You may be somebody, for example, who for a very long time, you're like, yeah, I'm doing the work, but you realize that the pattern keeps happening. And so now you've always had this inkling that maybe I should go visit a professional, for example, a therapist or something. And now you're finally like, okay, I need to, because even though I feel like I'm healing, even though I'm doing all this work and I'm having these profound insights and I've been at it for years, I still keep attracting the same thing. So I have to get to the bottom of this, because I'm not a spring chicken anymore, right? It's that kind of energy for some of you, where there's this acceptance of an aspect of your healing journey that you haven't necessarily accepted before. And, you know, that's the profound thing about this eclipse that's coming up, is that it's highlighting things that we already really know that we actually need to see. For some of you, you haven't wanted to engage in your own healing journey. You may have been dragging your foot on this. Your feet. Maybe your foot. Mike the Myomancer. Am I taking this? Yes. So Mike the Myomancer here, I'm being told to put it over here. Oh, we have a very nice symmetry happening here today. Mike the Myomancer speaks about observing the cycles of time, right? A season. Where someone here, you haven't wanted to engage in the very thing that you know that you need to, because you're worried about time. Think about all the time that's been wasted by not doing it, right? And by investing in the actual thing, you're getting better and better and better. Is that really a waste of time? So we tend to think of things in very strange ways as people, right? I see this a lot with like older people who are like, I can't go back to school because if I go back to school, I'm so old, I'm going to be like lose this amount of time in my life. And it's like, yeah, or you could not go, and then in that span of time look back and wish that you did, right? So it's just funny how we do that. We really shortchange ourselves, and this is really a self-sabotage mechanism, right? It's just part of the resistance to the very thing that we need. So someone here, you may be really seeing this, maybe analyzing these things, assessing these things. It's interesting that I was instructed to put Flaff the Footer over to my right. I will say that even though I feel that many of you will have success because of the Singer of Transfiguration here, some of you are going to put this off and you're not going to engage in this. And, you know, that's a choice. That's a choice. Okay. Where are we going? Where are we going? Oh, we're going here. Okay. See. Okay, we have the sustainer. So, one more. Okay. Oof. We have the poet showing up again. So the poet has shown up twice. And we'll talk about this particular poet. Notice how both of the cards that I pulled from this, we have the sustainer with that little ball, and we have the poet holding his little ball. The thing about the poet, or I'm sorry, the sustainer, is that the sustainer is trying to hold a shape, right? Sometimes even though we don't have the job that we want, we don't have the partner that we want, we don't have the life that we want, we find ways to make excuses to say, this is good enough. I'm happy here, right? Even though deep down inside we know that we're not. And this is one way that we sustain our shape. This is, again, sometimes part of that survival mechanism, that fear of change. Someone here seems to be putting themselves inside of this limiting box. And the reason why they seem to be putting themselves inside of this limiting box is because of an overwhelming feeling that if they open up that box, they will lose themselves, right? There's a very deep fear mechanism I see at play here if you are resonating with this particular card. This card's not going to resonate with everybody. This fear that someone is experiencing, you may recognize that this bleeds into other areas of your life. Fear may be a very predominant emotion for whoever this message is for. It's touching a lot of cards that are talking about early childhood with the numbers that are showing up. Again, 26, all these cards that I've talked about here, 30 being our foundations, 36 foundations of our family, on and on and on. Like, it's all over this section here. But this card is saying that even if you work on that, it actually extends further. This is a soul level thing. This is like a doom imprint, if you will. If you're unfamiliar with that term, doom imprint is the idea that far in our history, or if you resonate more with it, in mankind's DNA, it is an energy that's carried over from a great cataclysm or from other places where there may have been like wars or takeovers or things like that, things that are on a massive scale. So there is this sort of energy of from our very beginning. Some of you, this might mean in this lifetime, it could translate to trauma within the womb, or it could represent if your mother had a situation where she was constantly experiencing fear and those hormones were kind of part of your makeup. There's a nervous system thing that's at play, in other words. Interesting, because just last night I actually heard another reader talk about rhodiola flower for the nervous system to help it kind of calm down. So interesting that the nervous system stuff is coming out. But this is why we're trying to stay the same. Someone's trying to stay the same. That's what this looks like, right? And even if you're that person that I talked about in the beginning, who you've been on this journey and you've been on this journey forever, there's this one thing that will absolutely help you that we have been resisting, right? And it's because our nervous system is hijacking us to stay the same. The thing is that the same is not what I'm seeing somebody wants. So here in the very over off here, it's almost like it's not even in the future. This is just off on its own. This is kind of what we are struggling with right now. Somebody seems to be struggling with understanding exactly where the future is going. So there's a lot of hesitancy coming inside this message for me. There may be a lot of overthinking with the top half of this person kind of dispersing into these birds, right? The air element. And there may be aspects of survival involved in it, aspects of love surrounded in it, aspects of judgment surrounded in it, aspects of depression or even kind of bleeding into this reading for me. And we're not able to see the future. We're not able to plan for ourselves. We're not able to have a true vision for ourselves in a direction that's healthy for us. We might have a vision of an aspect of our life that has actually been quite unhealthy for us, even though we think that it's us being creative and creating. There's this energy that there's a center, and we've never been able to find that center. And that's why Epona's Wild Daughter is forcing someone right now to go within. Now is the time to find whatever that center is for you. So this is a very powerful time. I mentioned that in yesterday's reading. This entire series of eclipses that we have had has been an extremely powerful time for many of us. I myself am not always influenced by the new moons, the full moons, the eclipses. They tend to be things that I observe other people experiencing around me, but this series has gotten me too. It's been a little bit of a doozy, and in a good way, in the best possible way. Extremely illuminating. Oh my God. But so whoever this message is for, don't view this as hard work. Don't view this as a bad thing. This is a very good thing, because what it is you're learning how to make your life better. You're learning how to make your life something that you actually want to live, right? Can you say that about your life previous to this? Like, yeah, maybe you had some good stuff and things, but were you genuinely blissful? We're not going for happy. We don't need that happy shit. We're going for blissful, right? Don't settle. Don't settle. And this is the process. This is the process we go through. When you come out of this process, you will be more happy. And then you'll have another process that makes you more happy. And then you'll have another process that makes you happier than a pig in its own filth. And, so don't fear this process. Is it a hard process? For some of you, you might feel that it's a hard process, especially if you're not used to digging through very dark, deep emotions. If you have a warrior signature, you live for this. Right? And so, but what I'm seeing here is that there's this one thing that even if you have that warrior signature, you may have known forever, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, but I keep putting it off, and I keep putting it off, and I keep putting it off. This particular solar eclipse and this time period, and if you happen to be watching this outside of the time that I'm doing this reading, these are timeless readings. I'm just getting the energy because of the solar eclipse I feel for this particular reading. This is a perfect time to do this. It's a perfect time. It's almost like you'll have a leg up on had you done it before or if you do it after. So take stock of that. Allow yourself to do that thing that you know that you need to do, because what you're really doing, notice the pattern here, you're rewiring a cycle. They're funny. You're rewiring a cycle here, and it's all about this. It's all about the wisdom that we've gained and using that to transform. So whoever's message this is, I hope this resonates with you. I hope you found it. And I'm just going to leave it here because now I'm just going to ramble and not make any sense. So feel free to like this video. Feel free to leave me a comment. Until next time.